right, hello everyone. We are back at the Grey Matter, and today we have an interesting panel with us. But a prerequisite for today's episode is that you need to pause right now, and you need to go and do a set of 20 push-ups, and then you will be allowed to be on the show.
Or squats.
Or squats.
Yeah,
50 squats should,
yeah,
50 squats should be fine.
Yeah.
Welcome again, and welcome Caroline and Julia.
Opposite.
Exactly. I was just testing
Yes.
because while you guys were walking in, you guys got confused for twins,
Yeah,
which is
we
not the
did.
case clearly.
Yeah.
But we have the founders of Fit for All,
Thank you.
engineers turned trainers
Yeah.
turned entrepreneurs.
Welcome to the show.
That's us.
Welcome to
And
the show.
CEO.
Thank you
We're
so much.
excited.
Yeah.
Let's start with introductions.
Yes.
Tell us about Fit for All.
Okay, so Fit for All. So my name's Caroline, just to confirm. I'm the CEO of Fit for All. And Fit for All is really at its core a place where an inclusive place for fitness. So that's our mission, that's our vision. But on the back end, we're here to help trainers with their business operations, and then we're here to help clients find trainers for their specific needs and specialties.
And what stage are you guys at right now?
We're in beta testing. So right now, Julia and I put the platform together, MVP. So our basic functions, those that we really want to hone in on and are like our must-haves. Those are all the abilities that are being tested right now by our beta testers. And we're interviewing our beta testers now to see how the first 2 weeks went. And then so far, so good. And based on those, if it's still positive, we're looking for that launch date of April.
Oh, excellent. First?
Yeah.
Is that the first of
Early
April?
April.
Or early April,
Early
whatever that
April.
first
Yeah.
like day of the week is, like Monday.
We can do
or
2nd
whatever.
April, you know.
Yeah.
Let's be
No, I just
safe.
thank you.
Oh,
Your
April
first-
Fools.
Yeah. That's why I was just confirming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, developers.
Yes, so a very interesting journey, I would say, how I got here. Division 1 athlete, I played field hockey in college, I've played field hockey my whole life, I've always been into fitness. And the interesting thing about being an athlete when you're younger is you're told what to do all the time, and you're not really told the why behind it. And so I'm just do this, and whatever. So then got myself there. And then I was getting injured all the time. I tore both my ACLs, one when I was 12, one when I was 21. And then I graduated college, and I was like, what do I do with my life? And so I was going into school for going into work for civil engineering. I was in construction. So two very different sides of the
Same.
world. Yeah.
Body is also a building, right? To
Yes.
construct it.
100%. So that totally, my brain works for anatomy. And so I graduated in 2020, so we all know there was nothing really going on. And I didn't start work until September. So from May to September, I had nothing to do. So I was like, I'll just become let's do some trainings. So my mom is a yoga teacher and she has her own training. So I did a yoga teacher certification training, 200 hours, and it was heavily in anatomy because she was trained by a physical therapist, and my brain just exploded from there. I was like, oh, this makes sense. These connections, this angle of the hip to the knee, all of that stuff made sense to me. And my passion just sparked, and I started understanding why I was injured all the time is because of the way I was moving my body. Posture, 100%. Weak core, weak glutes, but really strong quads. So I was very unbalanced. And so again, no one was explaining the why behind what I was doing, and now I'm learning the why. And so then from that inspired me to then become a personal trainer, and all the while I'm now full-time construction. I'm working on construction projects, I'm in project management, and I'm just doing all of this as a side gigs and side hobby. And then about a year in my head, I was thinking, this is my passion. I can do this and not think I'm working a single day of my life. And then when I told my mom I really wanted to get into the fitness industry, she's like, you have an engineering degree.
Typical answer.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was like, all right, how can I use my engineering degree? So then I was like, I'm gonna make a platform for personal trainers to manage their business and find clients, because I was struggling with that as a personal trainer that was doing this as a side gig. Because I didn't have time to be a content creator. I didn't have time to do marketing. I didn't have time for all of this. And so I was like, I wish there was just a platform where people could find me. And I was like, I can make that platform. So then I ended up quitting my job, going to boot camp for software engineering to then create this platform. And right after I did the boot camp, I was on my own, and then I met Julia. And Julia will tell you about her experience.
Yeah, so
Yeah. So I a little bit flip-flopped to Caroline's background. I went to college for computer engineering, so I have the technical software background. And in terms of fitness, I had been exposed to it all my life. I played sports growing up. I exercised somewhat, but was never really super interested in it. I kind of just did it because that's what all the kids were doing.
Yeah.
And then I would say during COVID, I kind of got into a more consistent fitness routine. But even then, I was more so looking on Instagram, learning HIIT workouts from these influencers. And I didn't really like them, but I was I guess this is what I should be doing. And I just kept doing that, wasn't really getting kind of the results that I wanted. So eventually I started taking more of an interest in the nutrition side of things and how that could actually impact my fitness. And I kind of got more into the weightlifting routines and strength training and learning how that could maybe better my body versus the HIIT stuff that I was looking at online. And then about a year or two after that, I continued seeing information on Instagram, social media that I knew wasn't true, and I knew all my friends were looking at it and thinking it was true and believing all this stuff.
Yeah.
And that really frustrated me.
Everybody that tells you to do 150 reps of a certain exercise and
Yes,
they're fit
and
already.
you look like
and
me.
they're telling you that in 3 weeks transform your body.
Exactly.
And then you look at yourself and
Yeah,
really,
you're like, wait,
what
that's
3
not
weeks?
work.
Are these 3 weeks
Yeah.
on
Exactly.
planet Mars?
You just spend
It has to be a
$100.
lifestyle.
Yeah.
It has to be a lifestyle.
Exactly, and I very quickly learned that and wanted to share that with other people. So I decided to get my personal training certification a little over a year ago. So I would kind of have that information to be equipped to share it with other people and train other people. But around the same time, or a few months into the training, I was I love this. This is great. Doesn't feel like work. I love working with people and helping them reach their goals. How can I bridge my tech background, software with fitness? I don't want to be a full-time personal trainer, but I'm also kind of getting a little bit uninterested in the software stuff, doing that full-time. So again, ended up meeting Caroline. We just kind of had a lot of alignment on what we wanted to do going forward, and we started Fit for All. We're just really excited about it.
And
So that's a very interesting move from technology to fitness. So being a technology person myself, I would like to ask what kind of technologies and coding languages you are coding in.
Yeah, so I've been using Django at my company as our backend for many years, and that's actually what we're using for Fit for All as well. Graciously, Caroline accepted to learn that new framework.
yeah, this was actually really
That's
funny.
impressive.
Because when
Went
I
to the
went-
boot camp, they did not teach me Django. Yeah.
Well, so they taught me Postgres and then SQL.
Yeah.
And so that's what I before Julia and I started working together, I kind of built a very basic platform based on what I knew. So it was Postgres, SQL, it was JavaScript, and I think that was and React.
Yeah.
And then Julia was like, great, awesome. Why don't instead we do Django? and Python. Yeah, Django and Python on the back end, but two of which I did not know, and then TypeScript and React on the front end. And I was like, okay, so I have to learn everything from the start. I was like, okay, cool, awesome.
This repo, we're just gonna start a new one.
Great job, love that. Anyways,
Yeah.
So
But all the thinking you put in was very, very
Yeah.
useful because we built.
Who
off
came
of
up with the
that.
name? Curious.
I did.
Yeah.
It just kind of came to me one day. I was writing down all these different kind of names on a piece of paper, and then the idea was I wanted fitness for all, and then all of a sudden Fit for All just popped into my head, and I was like, oh, that could be nice. FFA, yeah, I like that.
Perfect length.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how you guys did onboard? How did you guys onboard the first users or the first trainers? And if you can share a bit about what exactly are you doing?
So we hit heavy on the marketing, thanks to your advice. When I met you, I was like, I don't want to post about it, I don't want to talk about it because I don't want someone to steal my idea. And you're like, no one's going to do that. No one has time for that. Post about it, get people interested.
And as a very good student, you just took it the same
all right,
day.
here we go.
Yeah, you took that advice the same day, and I could see you do action. You can do the action on the social media the same day.
Yeah, we made our
She
LinkedIn,
was
we
like,
made
impressive.
our fitness
Yeah, impressive.
account.
Was that the same day?
It
She's
was
like, I want to get all
amazing.
these accounts set up. I'm like, what sparked this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did the motivation injection
Yeah,
basically.
exactly.
The wedge there.
So that was when we launched online, and so we started really marketing towards that. And we started going to events as well.
And you remember when you posted it first time and you announced how many followers and links likes you got?
Oh, it was like
I think-
1,000.
yes,
it was
yeah.
like
Oh,
100
really?
impressions.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, so I actually have a pretty big connection
Right.
base on LinkedIn just through what I used to do for work, college, field hockey, like all that stuff. So it was very.
And I messaged the same day. Good job, you know,
Yeah,
because
you did.
as a coach,
And there you are 3 months later,
Yeah.
2 months later, right?
Yeah,
We met
exactly,
in
yeah.
November.
So
Yeah.
she was like sitting over a gold mine. She had so many followers, and she just posted what she was doing. And
He did
see,
the same thing to me.
And here you are.
Yes, and here we are, you know,
Yeah.
building this
So there's a
amazing community in New York.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. Yes, so we did that and we started going to networking events as well and like talking to people and specifically fitness networking events because we knew we wanted to target freelance trainers and also trainers that are both freelance and work in studios. And the grumbling of like trainers that we felt as well was that one, it was hard to find clients. Two, it was really hard to manage your payments because a lot of people are using Venmo and PayPal. And then three, if you're working in a studio, you're not making 100% of the profit that's
Correct.
coming in. So if I pay like $200 for a personal training or a personal trainer, the personal trainer is seeing maybe at the highest like 50% of that.
Right.
And so people do want to have their own freelance brand so they can make more of that profit.
So how does Fit for All help them increase their?
Yeah.
Right.
So pretty much one, it's going to be we're marketing for them. So we're going to be doing all like, hey, these are our trainers. If you're looking for this is what you can find. So marketing, help, ads, because a lot of times the personal trainers aren't always business people.
Yeah.
So, and they also may not have the capital to put into marketing, like paying for ads and all of that stuff. So that's something that we're helping as well. And then just our brand awareness. So it might be easier for people to follow a brand of Fit for All and then be able to trust the trainers that are in there. So that's how we're going to be helping bring those clients to these trainers. And we're like focusing a lot right now on like the payment processing and the client management and the certifications.
Yeah, so you're taking all the headache from them,
Yeah.
giving them a platform, and also getting them customers.
Yeah, and
Yes.
and
And
being-
community marketing will be happening. Obviously, there will be users of different instructors watching their stuff so they can decide what is best. They'll be rating as well, I guess.
yeah, and it's like the benefit of being in a studio, but being able to take your profit. So, because a lot of people will go to like an Equinox or a Core Power or anything like that to get a good trainer.
Yeah.
But then again, that whole issue with those trainers are they're not making that profit from it. So for us, it's like, okay, now we're gonna be that brand for you, but we aren't employing these trainers. Like it is your brand. We're treating you as a small business.
So you're an aggregator for projection.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So where do these trainers then train the customers that
So
you bring on
it-
your platform?
So that's like an expansion that we're looking into. So right now, there are places that you can rent to like train one-on-one.
Right.
Sometimes people come to their homes. Sometimes it's virtual. Sometimes they already have a gym available. Like the trainers have a gym available for them to train with. Anything like that. We are going to be looking into reaching out to those gyms that you can rent and try and do a partnership and be like, hey, we're Fit for All. Like, can we get this? Our trainers will like train here. So
Excellent. So you're pretty much democratizing the way Airbnb did the hotel industry.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm
we're-
sure a few people aren't really
Yeah.
happy with you guys.
Yeah. Well, so far so good.
That's disruption. That's disruption, you know.
disruption. That's
Yeah.
good.
Keep doing it.
Disruption, yeah.
Yeah.
And also like when we have these conversations, when we first were like putting the product together, you ask like, oh, like what are your issues? Because obviously we have a bias. We know what our issues were, but maybe that's not the issue everyone else is seeing. But everyone had the same issues: payment processing, tax recording,
Yeah.
and then client acquisition.
That's the biggest one.
Yeah, taxes
tax part?
taxes are
Finding
really hard.
taxes is a huge one, and finding new clients.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The top. Yeah.
And you don't really think about taxes when you think about fitness.
Right.
And again, we're not doing their taxes for them. We aren't.
You just streamlining the process for them, so it's
Exactly.
easier for them
Yes.
to do their taxes
Oh
for
my
the
gosh,
time.
yeah.
We want to remove the admin work because we want them to spend more time training clients. So one, they can like make more money and expand their business, but also like a lot of these trainers, they're doing it because they love helping people, and we're enabling them to help more people.
So they can focus on the core thing, what
Yeah,
they were trying to do
exactly.
basically.
Exactly.
So how's your fundraising exercise going on and what's the plan on that?
So we did a friends and family. So we started out completely bootstrapping, and then we opened it like a pre-seed round for friends and family. We raised about $100,000. So that's pretty good. It's closed. We have lawyers putting the safes together, and yeah, we're going with that. And then hopefully we can open a second round.
Awesome. Good
Yeah.
job. Good
All
job.
the best.
Thank you.
Should the trainers should also be part of that program?
Yeah.
Investing in you
We've
guys?
thought about
We've
that.
Definitely.
Yes, as a
We
way
actually
to
have-
keep
They,
investing
they will
in.
be eventually.
Yeah. So we have to like see obviously how like the revenue shakes out and all of that, and like equity, like it'd be great if we could really start making revenue without having to give away a lot of equity. Like that's kind of the dream of any sort of startup, is like hold the equity, and that way then we can distribute some equity to our founding trainers.
Because see, then it
Because
sort
when
of
we succeed,
helps
they
everyone.
succeed. Yeah,
exactly.
And then they would want to do more.
Right.
And nobody would want bad reviews,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So everybody, it's an ecosystem that sort of
Yeah,
expands on its own.
yeah.
Right.
So while you guys were doing your jobs and you were like studying and learning more stuff, what was that one thing, what dream you had and vision? Like, is there, it was something which was there for a long time, or it just came up that I should do something and should do a startup?
For me, it was injury prevention. So it was understanding, like learning anatomy, and I think Julia kind of mentioned it, but she was looking at stuff on Instagram that
Yeah.
didn't really work for her, and so
That was fake.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
A lot
So
of
you
it.
were doing, you were having the same problem and you tried to solve it for others, basically.
Yes, and
Right.
also, yeah, exactly. So that's then on the client side. So we're trying. I talked about certifications. They're on Instagram, on any sort of social media. You can say whatever you want on there. Like I
Yeah.
could say, "Hi, I'm a doctor,"
Yeah.
and people can
wouldn't get
choose to
told.
believe that. And there are a lot of, and I don't want to demonize that aspect of it, but there are people that do not have the anatomy training, do not have the hours and hours of certifications. Like for yoga, I have 500 hours of training for that. And you want someone that has that
To
experience.
be qualified as a yoga instructor.
Right. And so I think the minimum is 200 hours, but I then have 200, 300. And we want to help those people that have gone through those certifications and that have gone through, like, dedicated and invested their time and money into being a better trainer, and so that whoever they're teaching is safe.
So in the product mix, you didn't mention earlier that you also had a system for validating
Yeah.
the certificates. So
Right.
would you just speak more about that?
Yeah, so pretty much our 2 eyes. So you have to, when you sign up as a trainer, you have to, like, you can sign up, create your profile and everything, but you won't be shown on our, like, marketplace side until we verify your certification. So you have to upload your certifications before that. And and if you want to be listed as a personal trainer, you have to have a personal training certification. If you want to be a personal trainer on our platform and you are the only certification you have is like a spin instructor, we're not going to list you as a personal trainer because you're a spin instructor. So we'll list you as a spin instructor, but not as a personal trainer. And so that's the dedication we're putting in for the clients, so that the clients can trust us, and that will bring that client trust, and that kind of trust in our brand will bring more people to us.
So tell me about what other USPs or what are the other problems which you guys are solving in your thing.
Yeah, so one of the really unique things that we're doing is we're focusing on more specialized trainers and specialized needs for clients. So we've kind of like niched down who we're serving, and we really want to help people that have very specific requests or requirements or limitations find a trainer that can satisfy those needs. So if you have a physical limitation, or you are neurodivergent, or you recently had a baby, we want to be able to connect you with somebody that has the experience and the expertise to train that, not only with like great quality and get you the results that you want, but also safely.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
also just speaking of Ramadan, don't you want a trainer that understands that?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
wow.
Very good point.
So
And
like-
not kill us in the process.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. The just being able to understand, like, you're gonna be fasting for an entire day, and if,
12 hours.
for me as a personal trainer, I've never been through that.
Right.
I don't know, like, the mental,
Oh,
and like
wow.
physical stuff
Right.
that puts you through. And so you want to have a trainer that has had that experience, and maybe can even, like, I mean, Ramadan is, you guys are all going through it at the same time. So being able to have a personal trainer that you can, like, rely on and, like, talk to about that's
See,
huge.
there you
So
go.
that's so smart that in that way you can trap a lot of other communities as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in different religions, cultures, a lot of things are happening, and with that, it resonates a lot because whenever we are in Ramadan, we have to balance between fasting and then after so long gap when we eat,
Right.
we are tempted.
We can't eat.
Right.
Then
you don't feel good if
we
you
are
just,
tempted
like-
to eat a
Yeah.
lot,
Right.
and we are tempted to. And when I was like 24, 25. After every like breaking the fast, we were drinking a lot of sweet things and sugar, and I almost like
my gosh.
fainted.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah,
know what's
it bloats
happening.
you up.
No,
I
it's
can
like
imagine, yeah.
I could imagine after the fast breaking, I can sleep for like hours, and I never figured out what's happening.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
It was the sugar rush and the crash.
But then I realized, when I crossed 30 that oh shit, that what the hell I was doing with my body, right?
Absolutely.
So
You
So
gotta
I mean,
feel
if I was to talk from a branding perspective, what you guys said, made so much sense because it's sort of taking away a lot of trouble from the trainers. It's taking away a lot of trouble and the thinking power also from the consumer. You're making it easier. So you guys are bespoke fitness solution.
Bespoke fitness
Yeah.
solution. I like that.
I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we do at our show.
Yeah.
Whoever the founders are, we give free advice.
Keep it coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please.
So, I mean, when do we see you guys in April?
Yeah, that's going to be
April.
our big launch. And so again, the organic marketing, we have expansion plans, big ideas that I really
Lots
want to
of
get to,
big
but
ideas.
it's almost, so I was actually thinking about this today because that's all I do is think about this. Actually for my birthday, I went to the Liberty Science Center because I love science, I love learning and all of that. And so I went to the planetarium. And you learn about science, and you learn about space and all that stuff. And it almost gets overwhelming when you try and think about the universe and all of that. So you have to come back down and, okay, I'm just gonna think about tomorrow. So that's kind of like with your business, like you
You
can have
sort of
all
just
these
get carried
ideas,
away.
and it's almost like overwhelming.
Into a galaxy
So it's
far,
like,
far away.
Yeah, you gotta bring it back down,
Yeah.
bring it to square one. How are you immediately gonna help these people?
Right.
And also, as you guys were telling that you guys are raising funding as well, the real game starts when you start deploying that money.
Oh yeah.
And spending is also an art, so you know.
Very much
So what are your plans around that?
Yeah, so we have broken out our financials based on, so we have first broken out like what are our goals? Like how many users do we want by June? How many users do we want by next March? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then how much money can we make from like subscriptions, all of that stuff. So we have these goals that we want to make. So we started there and it's like, okay, fine. If we want to have this many 300 users by June, what do we have to do to get that? So work backwards. So with marketing now, I'm like, okay, with ads and stuff, how much money should we spend? Like if we're assuming a 1% conversion rate, 5% conversion rate, how much money how many leads do we have to create from that?
Yeah.
So we're kind of working backwards to hit our goals. And then, so that's basically all I was doing yesterday was those like coaching
Acquisition,
those-
customer acquisition costs.
yeah, and just like
Go-to-market
Calculating your
thinking about the
RPs.
math behind it. Like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, truly, I was like,
You should have seen the text I got last night, like 11 o'clock. I'm like, I can't do it.
I know. I felt like I was like,
My
you know
brain's
that
not
meme
working.
or that in what is it? What's the movie? Hangover. When it's
Yeah.
like all the numbers are going around that side.
Exactly.
Yes, that's what I felt like. I was like,
In the casino.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So and then also going into networking events and how are we going to get these trainers? So we've gotten a lot of. You asked about how did we find our beta testers through networking events and through our own personal like connections because again we're both personal
So
trainers.
you
We have
know
connections.
what's gonna get you trainers? You'll hold a competition
Yeah,
of trainers.
yeah, absolutely. And but it's also going to those events. Even if
Yeah.
like a trainer is hosting their own event, we go to their event and talk to because trainers are all around each other.
all
So if you go to
friends.
fitness events, we
It's
talk.
a community, it's a whole community.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
But how do brands sort of come into play? Because I believe once your platform grows, there's going to be a big room for brands to come.
Oh, yeah.
So there's
Oh, yeah.
Celsius.
It's on the list.
There's all the
we
nutrition.
actually
brands,
we actually
brands.
just
Sneakers.
I was just on LinkedIn because I think another thing about Fit for All is we're leaning into the soft side of fitness. So a lot of our competitors are, you go onto their platform and you see someone who is like the most beautiful bodybuilder you've ever seen in your entire life, and that's intimidating. For some people are like, no, that's what I want. That's like my mindset. Totally go for it. But we're leaning into that soft side of fitness. And on Cloud, the huge sneaker brand
Yeah.
just had a huge an ad about the soft side of fitness and being like, you can
Oh.
start running from any time,
So
anywhere, and
on
that's what we're for.
Cloud, you guys
On
need to
Cloud,
get in touch with Fit for All.
reach out to
Please
me.
do.
I'm on LinkedIn.
We
Find
have
me
her
on
LinkedIn
Instagram.
linked in the description.
Yes.
So
Yes, please.
look her up,
And
talk to her.
yeah, and so and I was like, this is great because that's what we're leaning into. And
Right.
if on Cloud, this huge brand is doing this, they're doing it based off trends. So they're also seeing the value. They're not going to
yeah.
spend money on something that's not going to make them money. So I was like, oh, this is great because that's what we felt like the trends were going towards. And not even just trends, but that's what people wanted. Like
Right.
there's always going to be those bodybuilders, and that's awesome. And that those
So you guys are on Cloud, not Nike.
yeah. Yeah,
I
and we
suppose
spoke
that's-
again. It's Fit for All, so we will have trainers that can have that kind of access and that kind of impact.
Right.
But we do again. You got to niche down again. That huge universe, got to bring it down. we're focusing on those people.
But that's your sweet spot.
Yeah.
Right,
That
exactly.
you want to
That's
focus
where
on.
we're starting. We want to serve everybody, but we
And
need
what's
to
your-
focus for right now.
What's your expansion strategy? Like you're targeting any specific cities, states, overall, or
So right now we're in 4 different states. So we have trainers in New Jersey, we have trainers in New York, we have trainers in Massachusetts, and we have trainers in Colorado. But because of our locale, we have so many connections in New York City and New Jersey and even Boston. So that's kind of what we're focusing on.
East Coast.
Yeah,
For now.
East
and like
Coast.
tri-state area kind of,
Yeah.
but we're not going to turn anyone away. But I think like
Right.
in terms of like if we're going to host an event, it's most likely going to be in New York City.
Right.
And then based on kind of, we're going to be looking at the data, who's coming in, where are we getting the most hits. If it ends up being that we're getting most hits in Boston because we have the trainers in Boston that we have are bringing on those clients, our next event's going to be in Boston. So it's really going to be for what we can forecast, most likely it's going to be New York, New Jersey is who we're
Yeah.
really going to be focusing on because that's that face-to-face. But it's because we're hosting trainers that can be virtual as well. So our trainer in Colorado, like she's already seeing benefits like from just the beta testing.
Excellent.
Yeah, so that's
So do we get subscription?
absolutely.
yeah, oh, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you're going to be a client, so it's free
Clients
for you.
use it for free.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll connect you with
Oh
trainers
yeah,
so we can make
we'll get you guys.
recommendations for you.
We'll get
Yeah.
you guys.
Definitely.
we'll look it up
We
on
cannot
our
miss
plans.
that.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I was thinking more like
Yeah.
being a trainer, but yeah.
Oh
Now, if you
yeah. If you show us your certifications, well, that's like also an expansions. Like we'd love to partner with these certifications as well,
Yeah.
because then if we bring in trainers that are like, oh, I don't have my certification, we're like, hey, if you want to be on a platform, get a certification, go through here. We can
Right.
drive
Connect
people
them with
towards
that.
those.
And also,
And-
once you have certifications, you have to, a lot of them require you to renew them every year or
5
two or
years.
something. At 5 years for you,
Yeah.
I think NASM's 2
so you have a
years.
mechanism in place to check.
Oh yeah, you're
I used
right.
to. So we have a mechanism to check. We have that stored. Like, when does it expire? We'll be able to notify them, and we'd love to like connect them with opportunities to renew their certifications. Whether that's like just programs that we know of or we've found online, or if we can like curate the experience based on their style of training and what they're interested in.
Yeah.
Like they want to get more into injury prevention, we can find a course for them.
Yeah.
It's super holistic.
Yeah, ideally
Excellent.
like get discounts for them as well, but that's NASM if you're listening.
Yeah,
we'd love
Issa.
to, we'd love to work with you.
Truly, give us a call.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Khurram, we'll now sort of steer towards the end of the episode.
Yep, yep.
So, do you have any questions for the two fitness trainers turned entrepreneurs?
So I think we were discussing last time as well that another idea can be for your marketing that all the trainers which are coming on your platform, they also love content.
Yeah.
So you can also offer this and help them, create a video with them.
Yeah.
You guys can go there.
Oh, yeah.
They talk about their problems and their customers. So like,
Yeah.
what do you think and how much like innovation you can do in this idea?
Well, so
Yeah.
part of when we were first before the beta testing, when we were trying to get people to sign up for the beta testing, part of our marketing was interviewing trainers that had already signed up. And so we'd do a workout with them and we'd interview. So you get to know your trainer, but also see their training style. So that's kind of how we started marketing for our trainers. And we were getting like over 1,000 views on those. And that, like, we had only like 2
That's
posts before
Instagram?
that. Instagram, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. And what about YouTube? Have you guys set up your YouTube channel?
No, we haven't.
We didn't talk about
We
YouTube.
haven't.
Yes.
I know. I
So,
think
4
that
things
there's
have
a way
come
of
from this
going in.
brainstorming session
Yeah.
/ podcast,
Uh-huh.
yeah?
Yeah.
We need a whiteboard on
This might work.
There it is.
So, any advice you would like to give to the upcoming entrepreneurs and recent learnings you guys have done in technology and from the business side?
I would just say, like, if there's something that you want to do and you're passionate about it, just go for it. Like, I thought so many times, kind of like the security net conversation we were having before. So many times, like, should I quit my job? Should I go all in on this? And then one day I just decided, like, this is something I really care about. It's something I want to try. Like, I know I'm capable of it if I just go out there and do it. So if you're thinking about something, just try it. I know we're in the early stages. I'm sure we'll have plenty of failures to come in the next however many years, but it's really pivots and learnings. Just go for it. Like, if there's something that you care about enough, you'll figure it out. Especially when there's no other option, like, you'll get it done. So
Yeah.
And
for it.
one more advice to developers. What technology they should be learning recently?
Oh, what technology?
Well, of course,
should
the
we
one
learn?
that Julia just made.
Yeah.
I would have to say Next.js and Django are wonderful tools to use.
Yes.
But also, if you're not a developer and you're trying to get a platform up and running, there's so many no-code solutions these days. So definitely check those out.
I mean, have you guys checked out? I met this amazing entrepreneur Geeta at an event a couple of weeks back, and she runs a platform called techbible.ai. So, I mean, it's an AI-based platform that you just go speak to the generative AI engine, tell them what kind of developer you are, what kind of product you want to develop, and it will give you a set of complete softwares that you need to use, and it will give you a comparison.
Oh,
so,
that's so
all right,
nice.
so
That's really nice.
if
A
you would
plan,
want to
like
use,
Bible.ai.
so if you want to use sort of the Adobe suite,
Yeah.
it'll say, no, this is going to cost you this much. So these are 3 other software that you could
Oh, that's
consider
so great.
and do it faster.
Yeah, that's
So-
awesome.
Because when you're doing building any technology, the most difficult question is in the beginning, what stack we have to choose.
yeah.
Right.
This is where a lot of my
Right.
customers and a lot of entrepreneurs I see they are stuck, and it's the most critical decision at this stage.
Yeah.
It's a pain to switch
And-
over later on. Like your decisions really have an impact.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And another thing that we also learned, which we talked about, was like just start. Just
Yes,
do it.
yes, just do
the
it.
biggest one.
Just start, yeah.
Yeah, not to take from Nike, but truly just get it started. Like, who cares what it looks like?
Right.
Don't focus on the perfection of it. Focus on the process of it. Focus on doing it and just continuing to get better and better.
Completely agree.
So, the final question,
Here we go.
and you guys choose whoever wants to answer. Ideally, both
rock,
of you
paper,
guys should,
scissors.
right? Yeah. So,
Let's see what the question is.
Yeah.
what is the gray matter to you?
The gray matter. I'm thinking of like, well, gray usually means like it's not black and white, it's somewhere in between. How does this have to do with entrepreneurs and building a business? I think, okay, I'm gonna define it as being fluid and flexible, never be on one side or the other, but always like stick to your vision, stick to your mission, but there's not necessarily one right or wrong way of doing something. You can kind of get there in various ways, so just being flexible and being adaptable, I think is really important as an entrepreneur because so many things are gonna get thrown at you, and like we've already experienced so many different things that have made us like start to just rethink something or try to strategize in a different way. And I think having that like adaptability is what is going to give you success in the long term because you can kind of take whatever comes at you and make the best of it.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Yeah.
This is why I
Because
think that-
once
Now, you want to top it up?
I'll add to it.
Sure.
Just based on our experience, we've had those situations where, again, there's so many options that you can go with a marketplace, kind of our base idea.
Yeah.
There's so many different things that we can do. We've talked to so many co-founders, we've talked to so many people in the VCs, and they give us so many different options of where to go. And we're like, oh, we could do that, we could do that, we could do that. And a couple times we've like had to hone it back in and be like, what was our original goal? Who are we trying to help here?
Yeah.
Okay, let's stick to that, and the rest will fall into place. So again, putting like, this is our vision, this is our mission, this is who we're trying to help. It might end up changing, kind of like the MVP or like our platform might end up looking differently than what we originally thought, but the people that we're trying to service and help is going to be the same.
So the gray matter, the reason I asked this question, because see, the gray matter actually is a mystery nobody's able to solve.
Some people
It's an
have a
actual
brain.
phenomenon.
Correct.
I
It's
was
a
about to
phenomenon.
say,
That's
my
philosophy,
friend
right?
is a neuroscience. She's
So
getting her
this,
PhD.
so
and
I
she's
study
studying it right now.
neuroscience because in marketing we do neurosciences, right?
Because I was like, I just talked about gray matter, and she was like,
Oh,
she
really?
doesn't
You know it too?
Yeah, and I was like, I
There's
don't
a
even
movie.
know.
There's a movie as well. I think around this. A show, The Gray Matter, and usually doctors and generally people
So the
refer
gray
to
matter,
brain.
the gray matter is actually, the gray matter is referred to the space between 1 and 0.
Yeah, it's like
The gray matter is the space between our ears. The gray matter could be anything. It's that part when an idea becomes an execution.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's that really, really powerful space,
Yeah.
philosophically speaking, which is not tied to time or dimension.
Right.
And one more thing, religiously, in a lot of ways, what I have understood and understand when I'm understanding all the main religions of the world, the human behavior in general, it always in gray.
Yeah. Oh.
No one is completely perfect, and no one is completely bad.
Right.
We are actually always dealing in the gray areas.
Yeah.
We just
Gray
don't
area.
accept, and because everything for sales, business, whatever I've seen in my life, it's all gray.
Yeah.
There is no black and white.
Right.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much, Julia, Caroline, and the entire crew at Fit for All for having you guys on our show. Really appreciate you being here. And
Thank you for
wish
taking the time
the
out.
very best.
That was
Thank you so
awesome. Thank
much.
you so much.
That was so fun.
It was so fun.
Is
Thank
there
you.
a tagline that we should say for you guys before we close the show? Or should we just say goodbye?
Go fit for all.
Go fit for all.
Go fit for all.
Go for it
Go
for
for
all.
all.